Welcome back to Vinyl Riffs. I'm Sean Gaillard, and today I am beginning a new series I'm calling The Summer of 2026 Sounded Like. Kind of a catchy title. But anyway, this summer has taken me to beautiful places, meaningful conversations, wonderful record stores, and the ISTE+ASCD Conference in Orlando. And like many of you, I've had the chance to step away from my everyday routine and make space to reflect. It's so important to do that. As educators, leaders, creators, and lifelong learners, summer often becomes that season where we dream a little bigger, we attend conferences, we travel, we read, we spend time with family, most importantly, we collaborate, we gather ideas before returning to our schoolhouse or district or work and our daily routines. And there's one record that keeps bringing me back to this season, and that's Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. I've written about this album. I've podcasted about this album. I have riffed about this album. I have blogged about this album. I've celebrated this album many, many times over the years. But this summer, I heard something different, and I want to share it with you. And the story behind this particular copy, I'd like to kind of riff on in this episode. This isn't just any other copy of Pet Sounds. While attending the ISTE+ASCD conference in Orlando, I decided to steal away a little time for myself. I slipped away from the conference and made my way to one of my favorite record stores, Park Avenue CDs in Orlando. Sometimes we need those moments, right? Not because we're avoiding the work or the grind or the routine. We need these moments because we're making space for ourselves. That's where I found this beautiful 60th anniversary definitive sound series, one step pressing of Pet Sounds. There's only 6,000 individually numbered copies. I've got 2,347 numbered here. Collectors appreciate this edition because the one step process removes barriers between the original master recording and what reaches your speakers. Every decision in producing this release was made to bring the listener closer to the music. I couldn't help but think, isn't that what great leadership does, right? It removes barriers, it removes obstacles, it helps people hear one another, it creates deeper connections. And listening to this, you just feel like you're in the studio with Brian Wilson circa 1966. I felt like I was at the mixing desk with him. The story behind the album Pet Sounds has always inspired me. While the touring Beach Boys were out on the road in Japan, 1965, 1966, Brian Wilson stayed behind. He wasn't interested in making another surfing record. He wasn't chasing expectations. He wasn't trying to recreate yesterday's success. He listened. He experimented. He iterated. He imagined. He dreamed. He created. He created space for curiosity. He created space for innovation. He trusted an idea that no one else could fully hear yet. And that takes courage. Every creative person eventually finds themselves there in that space, right? And Pet Sounds kind of stands as an emblem of that safe space. Let me explain why. One of the reasons I continue returning to this album is because it welcomes the listener, doesn't demand anything from you. It simply says, come in, sit down, you're invited, stay a while, take your shoes off, put your feet up, reflect, wonder, feel, belong, matter. And that's rare in a world full of noise. In a world full of noise, Pet Sounds creates a safe space, a space for vulnerability, a space for deep listening, a space for humanity. And I think we need more of these spaces like that in our routine and in our life and in our world. Summer is where masterpieces begin sometimes, right? For me, that is. Maybe that's what summer is really about. Not checking items off a list, not staying busy and trying to keep up with the Joneses, apologies to the Joneses, but creating space, space to think, space to reconnect, space to visit a record store, space to spend time with family, space to be alone, space to go for a walk, space to listen to music, space to attend a conference, and maybe even finding space within that conference to find time with others to create a space of belonging, space to read, space to imagine what comes next. And some of the most important work we do doesn't happen during the school year or fiscal year. It begins in the quiet. That's where masterpieces often begin. So, a couple of thoughts about coming back and coming home and returning back to the band. Eventually, Brian Wilson had to share these songs, these innovative songs, with the rest of the Beach Boys. He had to invite others into something deeply personal. A lot of the songs on here ring biographically and are very personal. And every educator understands that feeling. Every school leader or principal understands that feeling. Every leader understands that feeling, right? You've spent the summer gathering ideas, going off the beaten track, finding quiet space for yourself, whether it's for space for reading, traveling, collaboration, reflecting. And now comes the hard and the challenging part, returning back to your normal gig, returning, getting back to school, getting back to your organization. And saying that sometimes, I don't know, it can be hard. You might have a thought like, hey, I've been thinking about something, or I had this experience at this conference over the summer. And that's courageous. It's not easy. And so, what I would encourage you to do is to find your bandmate. Here's another lesson Brian Wilson reminds me of when I think about sharing your ideas after that kind of space. Don't carry your vision alone. Find your bandmate, find your trusted colleague, find that faithful collaborator, find that thought partner, find someone who can encourage you, challenge you, and help you translate your ideas before you share them with others. They can be that sounding board. They can be that confidant. And every masterpiece deserves someone who believes in everyone else before everyone else understands it. So be that bandmate. But there's a flip side to this story, right? Sometimes we aren't Brian Wilson, the one that's the visionary sharing the ideas and finding the courage to do so. Sometimes we're another member of the band. Someone walks into our office or our workspace, our classroom, the parking lot or our PLC or our leadership team meeting, and they share a new idea with you. They share their pet sounds with you. It's a different idea. It's an innovative idea. It's a bold idea, and maybe it feels uncomfortable. Maybe it feels awkward. Maybe it challenges you the way that you've always thought that we should do things. And before we dismiss it, before we diminish that idea, before we explain why it won't work, let's listen. Really listen. Deeply listen. What if the person sitting across from us is sharing the beginning of their masterpiece? What if our encouragement becomes part of that story? Sometimes the greatest gift we can offer another person isn't advice, it's our attention, our authentic attention. It's our curiosity, it's our questions, it's helping them know they matter. Let me say that again, helping them know they matter. So before I fade off here, I listened to this beautiful one step pressing after returning home from my summer travels, and I've listened to it a few times. And I've known this album, for almost 30 years, and I realized something that in the technical one step process, it's designed to, as I said earlier, to remove barriers between the music and the listener. Leadership isn't all that different. Maybe our work, our gig as leaders is removing barriers between people and helping them hear one another. Maybe it's creating spaces where curiosity is welcome, where belonging is real, where new ideas are met with encouragement instead of fear, where people know they matter. As you begin making your way back to your office, your classroom, your district, your organization, your workplace, or whatever comes next, I truly hope you found a little space this summer to begin creating your own masterpiece. And when it's time to share it, I hope someone listens. I know they will. I sure will. Until next time, keep spinning, keep believing, keep listening, and keep grooving. And know that the world needs your ideas and needs your dreams because you help make the world a better place and the world needs them. Every masterpiece begins with the courage to hear something that others haven't heard yet. This is Sean Gaillard. Thank you for tuning in with Vinyl Riffs. I hope to catch you at the record store. I hope to catch you on the flip side. Thanks so much for tuning in.